Justice, let's rise.
Boom.
Across the wire, through the storm, we won't conform, we won't be warned. Every voice, every sign, we draw the waking line. Screens light up, the message clear. No more running, no more fear. From the ashes, from the night, we carry forward burning light. Dark to light, light to dawn.
Wake up. Let's go, people.
We press on. We rise from dark to light. Cut through the lies, ignite. Truth breaking through the noise. Justice in our voice. From the silence to the fight. We stand together in the light. This is dawning justice, let's rise.
Let's ride. Good morning, everyone. This is Dawning Justice, and I am Josh the Justice Cometh. This coming to you this morning on this beautiful, beautiful Thursday morning to everybody. So everybody stretch. I know I'm late. I had some work stuff to get done this morning. I had a conference call. I couldn't hop right on at 8. So I knew this last night, so I got a lot of this done this morning so I could hop right in here after I was done. So good morning to everyone, and we are broadcasting from Rumble today, and the Rumble chat is already going off this morning. So as you can see, everything coming in. And guys, if you're over there on Rumble, give me that thumbs up, give me that repost, and let's get some people in here, and let's get some people chatting with us. Let's get some new faces in here. So we are also broadcasting from X as well. So if you're one of my X family, I see the X chat's already starting to go off. So thank you so much. Give me that heart, give me that repost. And Pilled, you have no excuses this morning. I know you watched AJP last night. So did I. So drop me a good morning, hello, or something in there and Pilled and wake up over there. So we are also broadcasting from YouTube. So I already see Monica over there chatting away. So thank you so much for that. If you're over there, make sure you give me that thumbs up and give me that share. Guys, I don't care what platform you're on. Everybody has YouTube. Everyone. So if you could do me a favor, go to my YouTube, just look up Tracing Justice. It's really easy. Follow me over there if you're not following me, because I'm trying to hit to a certain plateau so we can start doing some damage over there. So thank you so much for my YouTube crew over there. And we're also broadcasting from Facebook too as well. Facebook has taken off. Marnie, it manages our Facebook. She takes all of mine and Tracy's posts and puts it over on Facebook. And we chat with people over there, and we've went from nothing to almost 1,000 followers in a very, very short time. So, and that's kind of hard to do. So thank you, Marnie, for all your hard work over there. So if you're on Facebook, follow us over there too. Because sometimes you may miss what we've got on X because of this stupid algorithm that they've gotten. So if you're over there on Facebook, give me a heart or a thumbs up, whatever you want to give me. If you think I'm okay, give me a thumbs up. If you really like the show, give me that heart. So thank you so much. All right. So, man, I tell you what, I really enjoyed Real Justice last night. I was sitting there, and guys, I was folding clothes, and somebody somebody said, "Oh my God, Josh, you're still folding clothes?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they're pretty much all Tracy's." No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, when you're everybody thinks when you're a podcaster, you got like all this time in the world. And I look around the house and I'm like, holy moly, I'm like, we've got clothes building up, we've got dishes building up. So I took yesterday and got some housework done and watched some of the shows from Truth or Media, and it was absolute fire last night. And AJP's show last night, it was great. I had a rare opportunity to watch him for a while. I was waiting on Tracy to get home from watching the grandkids last night, so had a good time there. So let's not forget though. Let me get my stuff pulled up here. Our episode of Tracing Justice is brought to you by justicestreams.com and justicepetclub.com. So the people over at Pet Club 24/7, justicepetclub.com is where you go to buy the products. They've got this revolutionary dog treat. And I just heard from one of our viewers. Guys, I just noticed my X chat is not coming through. So I'll look at that here in just 1 second and see if I can fix that. But I heard from one of our viewers that one of their dogs has had like tumors or something all over them. They ordered the mush puppies. And I saw in the chat saying it's working. They're shrinking. They're actually shrinking. And there's just testimony after testimony after testimony on the webpage from people and their pets, like where they could barely like get up and move around and jump up on the couch and things like that. And about a month later, they're or less. I'm not saying it's going to work for every dog and cat out there, but they're jumping up on the bed, jumping up on the couch. They've got more energy now. So let's watch this quick clip from Pet Club 24/7 from justicepetclub.com.
The University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine confirms that pets with cancer live longer taking Coriolus versicolor. This is why we believe that every dog and cat needs Coriolus versicolor to help support and boost their immune system. Our Forest Natural brand has developed the world's first pet treat with immune-boosting Coriolus versicolor mushroom. We call them mush puppies. Coriolus versicolor is the most sought-after, all-natural supplement for both humans and pets to help boost the immune system. There are over 400 studies worldwide on its effectiveness in humans, including Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and now from the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine on its absolute effectiveness on pets. Now offered for the first time in a delicious biscuit. Pets absolutely love them. It's our goal to see every pet in the world on Coriolus versicolor with products offered by Pet Club 24/7. Science proves that a healthy immune system is the body's first defense against the smallest of ailments to the most catastrophic. Together, we can help reverse this terrible tide now plaguing our furry loved ones and give them the immune-boosting supplements that they need in mush puppies.
All right, guys. So it looks like I've got my X feed finally coming in. So thank you so much for being patient with that. So yeah, guys. I mean, if you have a pet and you notice that their coat is not as shiny as it was, or they're not moving around like they were, they have absolutely no energy at all. Check out justicepetclub.com and check out the mush puppies. Or if you've got a cat, they've got a sauce too that you put on their food. The cats absolutely love that and just eat it up. So check it out. Justicepetclub.com, the mush puppies in the sauce for the cats. Very, very, very good products. And I am so glad that people are seeing results from it. So let's go through the chats this morning. So I want to start with X this morning. So Alanita0711 says, good morning, and K9 Andrea, part of our Truth or Media mod team, coming in with the repost. Good morning. Scout Mom, Nabil, Harmonious Mags. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. Sometimes, when I start early, I don't think she quite gets out of bed, because I'm telling you what, guys, she's got a house full of kids. So, the most adorable children. She sent us pictures of her kids before, and most adorable kids you've ever seen in your life. Freedom Fire 1776, part of our Truth or Media team. Hey. And Janie, Jill B, Pamela, Kelly B, also checking in. MAGA Man, God bless you all. I can't get my cat to eat the treats. I tried so hard. Okay, MAGA Man. You may have to bust them up really, really small pieces. Or you may want to backtrack and try that sauce that they've got. I just know it works for cats, man. Just try it out. If you can't get your cat to eat them, just try to back up and get that sauce if you can. So over there on Pilled, everybody's still asleep. I don't know what's going on over there on Pilled. If you're lurking, just say, hey, I'm lurking. So give me a little love over there. So YouTube, Monica Rodriguez coming in, checking in. Good morning, Patriots, and 4 Huskies. Huskies on the special. We have all 4 of our Huskies on the special sauce. Awesome. So, if you could tell everybody in the chat how it's working for you, I'd very, very much appreciate that. And Billy M. Fan, good morning. Just stopping in to say hi and hit that like button. So thank you so much. And Monica Ellison over there on YouTube as well, saying good morning. And Facebook, we've got Kim Hall, Deborah, and Denise Denhart checking in. So thank you guys so much for that. And let's see here, our Rumble chat. So I put out an announcement last night that we were going to be starting kind of late. And I don't think everybody quite got the memo on that, because, X is kind of weird with the algo and stuff. So I had people in the chats, this morning, they're like, well, what's going on? And so I was like, dang it. I forgot to pin something in the Rumble chat to let everybody know. So, but thank you everybody for showing up. So the first check-in this morning on my end, okay, when I pulled up Rumble, I'm not saying it was the very, very first one this morning, was Nana2112, and then R. Pierce checking in, American GG, Pamela K, and Neville checking in, and Bibby's Barn checking in, Tense 15, and let's see here, who else we got? Carrie Girl 74, Debbie V 57. Debbie, do you ever sleep? Because I saw you in just about every Truth or Media show yesterday, because I was traveling yesterday too after I got done with Dawning Justice, and I'll pull up Steve's show whenever I can, in between stops and everything from my work. And Debbie, I see you in every show, so thank you so much for being a loyal fan. And K9 Andrea also checking in over there, and gosh, they were dancing away. USAID paid, part of our Truth or Media mod team, so thank you so much for checking in there. And Danny 12662 checking in. Coffee Gal 1776, Coffee Gal, check out dawningcoffee.com. You must love coffee that much for it to be in your username. So I highly suggest you check out our coffee. Let's see here. Samantha 321, good morning to you. A Dutch Rumbler, good morning. Hey, that's a new name. Pat 061271. So good morning to you, my friend. Onward Truth, good morning, and hit that thumbs up. So thank you so much. Annie Oakley is Harmonious Magpie over there on X, so she's double dipping over here in Rumble. Twice Barb, Froggen 911, good morning. And gosh, guys, you keep rolling in here. Brouhaha, man, thank you for checking in. Dude, it's an honor being in this fight with you, sir. So thank you so much for watching the show this morning. And I think I'm caught up. If I missed you, oh, I can't forget my boy Yeet Force. Thank you so much, part of our Truther Media mod team. So let's see what we've got. Let me check off my list here, make sure we're not missing anything. And I think we're ready. I think we're ready. Yeet, you're not late. I was late. I was the late one. You were right here on time this morning. So no apologies necessary on that. So thank you again for everybody being so patient. Oh, Coffee Gal says, I will. And yes, I do. Just got an order from Hunter's Blend, but we'll check it out next. Awesome. That is Hunter's Blend Coffee. That is my link. The Dawning Justice, or I'm sorry, dawningcoffee.com is my link to order it through. So it's the same stuff. I don't want to mislead anybody, but that is Hunter's Blend Coffee. So let's dive in to our morning daily devotional. Preacher says, stop trying to win in the world and start letting God change your heart. Most people don't lose their walk with God in big dramatic ways. They lose it in the quiet places, in the little questions they stop asking themselves. Am I becoming less selfish or just more quote unquote religious? Do I still have to get my way, or am I learning to surrender? When things don't go my way, do I trust God or do I sulk? Because this is where the real battle is, not out there, in here, in the heart. Let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit, but in the lowliest of mind, let each esteem others better than himself. And that's Philippians 2:3. God isn't measuring your life the way the world does. He's not impressed with appearances, performance, or outward success. He's looking at your heart. For the Lord does not see as man sees. For the man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. And that's 1 Samuel 16:7. So the real question is, am I doing enough? Hey, Burn Notice, thanks for the check-in over there on Rumble. So let me repeat that. So the real question isn't, am I doing enough? It's, is my heart becoming more like his? Are you just learning to give instead of just take? To serve instead of control? To care more about the other people than just yourself? Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. And that's Galatians 6:2. Because that is the progress in the kingdom. And most of the time, you won't even feel it happening. It'll feel slow, messy, imperfect. Like climbing a steep hill where all you notice is your stumbling feet. But God sees something you don't. He sees the direction. For God is not unjust to forget your work and labor of love. Hebrews 6:10. Even when you feel like you failed, even when it feels like your effort was weak or broken, if your heart is turned toward Him, He receives it as an offering. And that's the part most people miss. You don't grow by being perfect, you grow by being willing. So don't quit just because it feels slow. Don't turn your back just because it feels hard. Every day you choose surrender over self. Every moment you choose giving over getting. You are moving forward. Even if you can't see it, God can. And that's more than enough to keep on trucking. Thank you, Seth, for the morning devotional this morning. That was amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are giving to charities just to get the tax write off or to get recognition, you might as well not even done it because you did it for yourself. If you're out here spreading the word of God because it looks good for you, you might as well not even do it. I mean, it's good that you do, but you're doing it for the wrong reasons. God will still use you, but it may not be recognized the way that you think when you do get to heaven. That's the hardest thing I think about, all of this sometimes is we get so, just like even with podcasting and stuff, sometimes that we start thinking of ourselves more than the movement and what we're doing. And I'm trying to word this correctly. Hang with me just a second. Sometimes we get so deep in this stuff and we have so many other concerns about what's going on and money and things like that. We forget sometimes why we do things. We forget that we're supposed to be the calm in the storm, and we get so involved in building up this online social media presence that sometimes our messaging is not what it should be. Sometimes we go out there and boast about things just to make ourselves look good and not why God put us through those things is to help other people. Am I making sense? So it's a fine line to walk, you know. It's hard. But the most important thing is to always try to stay humble. You know, uh, Try not to boast about things, that I knew this or I knew that, because there's going to be a time come to where you're going to want to say, I told you so. I told you. I've done it. I've done it on posts, guys. It's hard not to. I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat, guys. Scout Mom, I'll take a look at that here in just 1 second over on X. So, guys, stay humble. If you're doing something, think to yourself, why am I really doing this? Am I doing it to look good to everybody else, to the world, or am I really doing this out of the goodness of my heart? All right. Let's go see what Scout Mom's talking about real quick. Give me just 1 second. Let me look up my X feed and go to the White House. She said the White House just posted President Trump holds all the cards. Let's see here. Huh. So if you don't know, and again, I'm not boasting. I'm not saying, oh, look at me. But I made a meme about President Trump holding a bunch of Uno cards. You saw it all over the news. Yeah, I think it was very significant because when I made that, yeah, burn notice. I think I am the earliest show. um, when I made that, I was trying to get him holding a royal flush. Okay. And I was using Grok to do it. Grok would not give me poker cards. All it would give me is wild cards from Uno. So I was like, man, screw it. I'm just going to use that one. After like 5 or 6 attempts, I'm like, I'm just going to use it. So I posted it. And then it was like President Trump reposted it. The White House reposted it. And then President Trump reposted it again. And now it's like a thing now. President Trump holds all the cards, the White House. because the White House quotes Donald Trump. We are stopping a very evil nation which has killed thousands of our people. Now we have Iran in the ultimate position. They have no choice. Hey, Courteous, part of our Truther Media mod team and a Truther Media podcaster. Huh. Well, guys, let's dive into the news. Julie Donuts says, no evidence? Wait until the world sees all of the election fraud in all of the states, foreign and domestic, 2016, 2018, 2020, 2022, 2024, for decades. It's coming like a nuclear bomb. Let's watch this clip.
So we'll definitely just start there. There is no evidence of election fraud in California. No evidence of election fraud in California. No evidence of election fraud in California. No evidence of election fraud in California.
Brenda Lee Brown Armstrong made her initial court appearance this morning. Case stems from a video made by conservative activist James O'Keefe. It appears to show Armstrong and others paying homeless people to register to vote and then signing various petitions.
Q Post 1197, 4/19/2018, and Anon says, will election fraud be revealed soon? Q responds, yes. Midterms are safe. Watch California. Q. The Storm of Arrive says, we have things that you won't believe. President Trump just said more evidence on the rigged 2020 election is coming soon. They rigged the election, the second election. Most of you know that happened, and now it's been proven, and it will be proven as time goes by.
Now they made it so that I wouldn't be president, and because they rigged the election, the second election, as you probably hear and probably know, most of you know that happened, and now it's been proven, and it will be proven as time goes by even more so. We have things that you won't believe. When we release the full files, you're not going to believe how crooked the 2020 election was. But who would have thought that it comes due in my term? I mean, this was, thank you very much. So it was very important that we be able to do that. So we're talking to them. We'll see if we do something.
President Trump holds all of the cards. And now you've got Pulte coming in as DNI. I think it's June 19th. So we're 8 days away. You know, let me just go look at the deltas for that day. Give me just 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I know this is not Tracing Justice where we go through a lot of drops, but let me look at the deltas for that day. I'm just curious. It could be nothing. 0619 and close it in. Q Post 1557, Devin Nunes is quoted by Q. It says, grab the popcorn. Q responds, you asked for the popcorn. Let's start here. Q. Q Post 1559 for the day that Pulte takes over. D Class LP Viva La Resistance. Viva versus VV. JC is in the kill brackets. James Comey. Why classified intel comms at the highest level? Define title. Define role with Mueller. Exchange shelters. Very senior member. That's going to lead to Obama. Let's see what else. There's a ton. I'm I'm just quickly scanning through them. Interesting. Yeah, Annie Oakley. All roads lead to Obama. The exchange shelters very senior members. It's coming, people. Gunther reports massive Minnesota fraud scandal explodes. A former 20-year veteran of Minnesota's Department of Human Services blew the whistle back in 2019 on the weak oversight and shady contracts, only to be sidelined, ostracized, investigated, and slapped with the, quote, racist label. Hey, Nugs, thank you for checking in on Rumble over there. For daring to speak up. Now, a bombshell House Oversight reports reveals nearly 30 whistleblowers targeted by the state, homes photographed, phones monitored, kids' schools tracked, all while an estimated $9 billion in fraud ran rampant. Yeah, Annie Oakley, nothing can stop what's coming. Nothing. Governor Tim Walz and AG Keith Ellison are directly called out as ultimately responsible. Keith Ellison is all over the Q drops, by the way. Half of Minnesota's House reps just demanded Walz and Ellison resign. The trust is gone. This is what happens when radical leadership puts politics and cover-ups over accountability. Time for real investigations with real consequences.
Targeted after raising concerns about activities in the Human Services Department. It's part of a new report accusing state officials of intimidating whistleblowers and ignoring warning signs. Senior correspondent Mike Tobin has the latest. He's in our Midwest Bureau.
Ignoring it would allow fraud to come in.
Faye Bernstein says she spoke up years before the massive Minnesota fraud scandal came to light. A 20-year veteran of the state's Department of Human Services, Faye says she warned her superiors starting in 2019 about weak oversight of contracts and grants. As a result, she claims she was sidelined, ostracized, investigated, and slapped with a label.
You lived in fear of being called racist, and that is life-changing. That changes how you walk around in the world and how you do your work.
In a stunning report accusing Minnesota leaders of turning a blind eye to what a federal prosecutor estimated totaled $9 billion of fraud, the House Oversight Committee says it interviewed nearly 30 whistleblowers. Some claim that after reporting red flags, state investigators took photos of their homes and cars, monitored their phones, and sought to gain personal information about which schools their kids attended. Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer says Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison were ultimately responsible, and the vice president says he referred the case to the Justice Department.
Whether it rises to the level of a criminal violation, we're going to investigate it. And of course, if it does rise to that level, we're going to prosecute it. We have to.
Ellison is calling the vice president's referral a political stunt from an administration that uses the machinery of government to target its perceived opponents. Governor Tim Walz's office dismissed the Oversight Committee as nothing more than a joke. Half of Minnesota's U.S. representatives, all the Republicans, just delivered a letter to Governor Walz and General Ellison insisting they resign. The confidence needed to govern, they claim, has been irreparably damaged. John, back to you.
Mike Tobin in Chicago for us. Mike, thank you.
Got it.
Breaking tonight, testimony is underway right now in the trial.
Did you hear what Keith Ellison said? This administration targets its political opponents? Are you freaking kidding me right now? There's actual proof and evidence of what they've done. Vance said, if this falls to criminal, it's going to fall to criminal, all right. Yeah, Debbie V57, they are nothing but a bunch of clowns. So President Trump is the only president to actually have a mugshot. and you're saying that he just goes and targets his political opponents? Laughable. Yeah, Bibbs, they've always accused us of doing what they're doing. That's exactly right. Yeah, Baba, Susie over on YouTube, the full house of cards are falling. Yeah, it is sickening, Debbie. Bird Notice says this is totally insane. Yep, absolutely. Belfast's explosive unrest has now reached America. Fox News now leading coverage of the growing crisis in Northern Ireland as images of burned vehicles, street clashes, and mass demonstrations spread around the world. What started with a brutal attack has become a story that is dominating international headlines. Tonight, Belfast is no longer just Northern Ireland story. It is a global story. And we're going to watch this video right here. It's about 8 minutes long, but everybody needs to understand what's going on over there. Everybody needs to see what's going on because they don't have President Trump over there. They're trying to take their country back, and they're going to have to try to take it back by force because it's ultimately overseen by the crown. When do you attack the king? At the beginning, middle, or the end of the game? Game theory.
Fox News alert: a revolution's brewing across the pond in Northern Ireland. Last night, hundreds of masked Irishmen rioted across the city of Belfast, burning buses, torching cars, and setting homes on fire. The Irish haven't been this uppity in decades. So how did it start? 48 hours ago, an African national was charged with attempted murder of an Irishman. He was almost beheaded. The barbaric attack caught on camera. Witnesses were heard crying, "He's trying to cut his head off. He's slicing his head off." This crazed man from Sudan pinned his victim to the ground and was slashing in every direction. Stephen Ogilvie had deep knife wounds in his head, face, and back. He even lost his eye. Somehow he's still alive, but in a coma. But who was the butcher? His name's Hadi Oladid, not an Irish lad. He's 30 years old and went from Sudan to Paris before he flew into Dublin and took a bus into Belfast back in 2023. He applied for asylum and the kingdom gave him refugee status. Police say the Belfast butcher wasn't in any security database. He was unknown. Now, when this nut was arrested, he told cops, quote, "I've killed someone. I don't know if they're dead." This animal was taken to the hospital, too, where he threatened to slash another Irishman, telling them, "I'll kill you." This guy went to court, couldn't even speak English. The people have had it.
They're not listening. The political class are not listening. These people who are coming over here illegally, they're rapists, terrorists. They're coming over here. It's literally like putting a wolf in a sheep field. You are giving them a target-rich environment. You haven't vetted them. You've done nothing. All you've done is dump them in a place where they can wreak havoc. Where they come from, guess what? There's no law. If they can do literally whatever they like, well, guess what? What goes round comes round. And I think the political class have got a very, very, very big smack on the nose coming.
One reporter asked an Irish politician, "How many more years of open borders can we take?" The minister said, "We just have to be more inclusive."
Fake news, and on the day that's in it, totally inappropriate. I don't know any country that has open borders. I believe in an immigration system that is fair and managed and enforceable and compassionate and human rights compliant, but that is not the debate for today. The debate today is about our society, about our inclusive society, our welcoming society.
Human rights compliant. The real threat, she says, isn't the African migrant trying to behead the Irish, It's the Irish reaction.
It is thuggery, plain and simple. The attack in North Belfast was heinous and it was absolutely wrong. But what we're now witnessing is that attack being exploited by dangerous and reckless people to target innocent people who had absolutely nothing to do with it.
The United Kingdom is at a tipping point with migrant crime. In December, an 18-year-old Englishman was sliced to death by an Indian. Henry Novak, a student, was out with his friends one night when he noticed the guy was carrying an 8-inch blade. The teen asks, "What's with the blade?" The Indian says, "I'm a bad man," and then stabbed Novak over and over, including a fatal wound to the chest. Cops showed up, and the Indian with the sword said he was being a racist. Guess who cops handcuffed? The white kid bleeding out.
What's your name, mate? Huh?
Hey, Jerron, thank you for checking in over there on
Has anyone
YouTube.
been hurt other than him?
Yeah, me. He's grabbed my brother. He's took my turban off, started grabbing my head.
Are you injured?
Hey, Mary,
Yeah,
calling
yeah,
up. Thank you for checking in.
All right, just step back a little bit for me. Right, let's get you out of there, shall we? What's happened to you, all right?
Been stabbed.
You've been stabbed? Whereabouts? I don't think you have, mate. Hand?
I can't breathe.
Put the hand in the cuff, mate.
Novak died at the scene. Cops just let him bleed to death while they put his hands behind his back. In the UK, it is illegal to carry knives, but there's a religious exemption. The Sikh Indians walk around with a kirpan. It's a ceremonial knife that can be up to a foot long. It's basically a dagger. They've used them historically as a weapon, not as a letter opener. J.D. Vance responded to the attack saying this: Henry Novak died the same way as civilization dies, abandoned, handcuffed by authorities who neither trusted nor cared for him, and accused of hate crimes he did not commit. He should still be alive today, and he would be if the last few generations of European elites had stood their ground against the politics of self-hatred and the mass invasion of migrants. Now, when the body cam dropped, protesters lit up the streets of Southampton. And now tonight, more protests in Belfast. Police were just seen using water cannons to disperse the crowd. You can feel the anger in the streets.
I will never condone what I saw in Belfast last night, but until they drag me from this duty, I am not going to sit here and say I don't understand not understand the revulsion. I do. I get people's anger. Hard-working, law-abiding, normal, everyday people who are increasingly thinking, what the hell? Not only economically am I screwed, not only socially am I screwed, but now I have to look over my shoulder.
90% of all jobs created in the UK in the last 20 years have gone to foreign-born. Politicians are importing the third world where they steal jobs and stab bodies. Yeah, people are mad. Doesn't make the riots right, but I hear them. Former UFC champ Conor McGregor said this: ban immigration from the third world now. Help them from where they are, as we've done over the years so many times beautifully and nobly. They cannot come here any longer. McGregor was at the White House last year warning about all of this.
It's high time that America is made aware of what is going on in Ireland. What is going on in Ireland is a travesty. Our government is the government of zero action with zero accountability. The illegal immigration racket is running ravage on the country. There are rural towns in Ireland that have been overrun in one swoop, that have become a minority in
Hey,
one
Glenn
swoop.
on YouTube, thanks for the check-in.
Issues need to be addressed, and the 40 million Irish Americans, as I said, need to hear this, because if not, there will be no place to come home and visit.
Trump's been warning Europe that unchecked migration is going to wipe away hundreds of years of their civilization. The president says we were on the cusp of looking like Europe until he came in.
I believe it was the most insecure and unsecure border anywhere in the world. And they allowed this open border policy where millions of people came into our country, unchecked, unvetted, people from jails, people, drug dealers, people from mental institutions. Jails and mental institutions from all over the world were emptied out into our country. And we've got a lot of them out. We have a ways to go.
Today, POTUS signed a bill to give almost $70 billion to ICE and Border Patrol. America can't turn into Europe, or Manhattan will look like Belfast tonight. We cannot afford any more riots. American politicians should see what's going on in Ireland and make sure that doesn't happen here. Because when government betrays its people, the people will govern themselves. And that can get a little messy.
The people are over it in Ireland. You know, Irish Patriot, he's always in here, but he's got his hands full right now. You know, he's trying to lead the charge over there. And guys, what we have to remember is, you know, Q even said, don't think just the United States. This is worldwide. Now, what my brothers and sisters over there in Ireland have to remember, that they will plant people in our movement. So you got to be watch out who you're interacting with, and you know what's going on over there, because I believe that they're going to put people in these riots to do really bad things to people and to frame you. So just watch out for that, though. Burn Notice said, we're all going back to 1776. The weaponry will be different, but the but the U.S. and the world is declaring war against the UK Crown, London. All we have to do is expose their crimes. Bill of Rights 2.0, absolutely. Absolutely. This is a worldwide fight.
We're standing tall, we're gonna fight it all. We're gonna run the world again. The words are written deep within our hearts. So stand up tall, we're gonna fight it all. Where we go, Can you see the light in front of us? Can you feel the light? We're standing tall, we're gonna fight it all. We're gonna run the world again. The words are written deep within our hearts. So stand up tall, we're gonna fight it all. Where we
It's a worldwide fight. Hey, Maureen, thank you for checking in over there on YouTube. No, you didn't miss the whole show. I had a work thing this morning, so I apologize for that. So the next thing that we're going to watch is we're going to watch the Promethean action update. For guys that you missed Real Justice last night, I really think that this is an important one to watch. So let's go and watch this real quick.
Bet you remember this nursery rhyme. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Nursery rhymes are a part of human culture. They stay with us for a long time and are handed down from one generation to the next during our earliest years. And yet they're always changing. It was with Alice in Wonderland that Humpty became an egg that cracked into a gazillion pieces. But however Humpty fell, he was seemingly impossible to reassemble, that some things can't be put back together again. And the question today is, can Western civilization be put back together again? When we look at America today, we see so many problems. Go on social media for too long, and you might be afraid to walk out your door. There are so many divisions and fractures. Violence is escalating. The flood of illegal immigrants, combined with decades of reckless policies, have antagonized racial and generational divisions. The media then exploits these divisions and drives us into fear and rage. Leave aside those hoping to instigate race violence and civil war. These are more like characters straight from Wonderland. They've lost any sense of reality. But for most people watching the news right now, they're being handed a binary choice. Today, one side is screaming that collapse is inevitable, that the economy is just a big bubble, that the stock market is another dot-com hysteria of overpriced AI corporations, that data centers will destroy all of us. Now, there are real problems, but the situation is painted as if there is no pathway out of the crisis, that there's no option but to tear everything down, to implement some ideological utopia that discards all of civilization. There are even now some Democrats who realize this utopian rage isn't selling. The Obama types, the Carney option, politicians who say they want to gravitate towards the center. They want to sound more practical. We know this is just a veil for more radical destruction. We've seen this approach for decades. But on the other side, people in the media point to the Dow Jones and say we're back on track. Everything is good to go. Just clean up the streets and let the good times roll. This doesn't instill fear and panic, but it misses the deeper issues, and it can undermine the deeper changes that are key to our success. Because the real problem is that metrics like the stock market are the wrong dials. We all want cheaper gas prices and more affordable homes. But more than anything, we want to know that our sacrifices are going to mean something, that we're going to pull this ship together for future generations. And in this context, looking at the stock market to measure true success is like trying to get milk from a bull. The real question is, can our civilization be put back together again? And if so, how? By the end of this video, I'm going to show you how it can be done. In many ways, the answer is staring us in the face. It just doesn't fit expectations. And why would it? First, I'll show that the change happening in America today is big. It's even transformative. The jobs, the energy, the industry. But this is still just the surface. Underneath it all, beyond all the day-to-day propaganda, is where the real change is taking place. I'm Mike Steger, and I've been fighting for the revival of the true United States for over 25 years. If you have a sense that America is engaged in something deeper than just quarterly GDP results, and if you want to be a part of it, then hit the like and subscribe. Sign up for our free newsletter in the description, and help us get this channel to 50,000 strong. Okay, let's start with the hard numbers. The May jobs report came in at 172,000 new jobs, more than double what Wall Street expected. And these are jobs for American citizens, not illegal immigrants. But for 3 straight months, jobs have far exceeded expectations. March and April together came in 93,000 jobs higher than first reported. And these are not despite the trade disruptions. These are because of the tariffs and trade deals, despite what the Wall Street Journal wants to say. Then there's energy. American electricity demand is hitting record highs. In Texas alone, the gas plants waiting to connect to the grid have jumped more than 400%. There's also an $80 billion federal partnership to kickstart a nuclear renaissance and build 10 new nuclear power plants. We're building the physical backbone of an industrial nation again. Steel, turbines, transformers, microchips, and reactors. For the first time in 26 years, America is now outproducing Japan in steel. And on top of that, corporations are building on American soil. Micron, $200 billion in major fabs in Idaho and New York. Eli Lilly, $27 billion in factory build-out. Stellantis, formerly Chrysler, made the largest U.S. investment in its history. This is not just a press release or stock buybacks. These are factories that will employ thousands of Americans, creating long-term jobs and economic investments into small towns and cities. But is that it? Is the answer just the economy starting to get better? The West is saved? Smash subscribe. See you next week? Clearly not. Because even under Biden, there were energy investments, though it was solar and wind. There was construction of auto plants, but it was for EVs. There were even chip fabs. But it was all because the government was handing out money. Massive government spending and regulations, which created massive inflation, raised energy prices, and the prices of cars and everything else. But if you measure the way the economists measure GDP, payrolls, the Dow Jones, you would say nothing's different. Inflation is growth. But what if the measurement is the mistake? Then we have to go deeper. The first priority is to address basic economics. If we don't change the productivity of America, we can't solve any other problems. Real production is upstream of all other cultural problems. And when it's all finance, there is no investment into the working class. All of your investment stays in finance. So instead of measuring finance and stock prices, we need to start measuring our new production. How many gigawatts of energy are available on demand? That's real energy, not just when it's sunny. Or how many heads of cattle do we have? Not what are the profits of the meat packers? What are the wages of the American factory workers? Not how many illegal immigrants did we employ last month? This is Economics 101, and we're finally getting back to basics. We're investing into productivity, and we're also measuring productivity. It isn't perfect, but we're finally measuring physical success again, not financial inflation. And this brings us to a deeper and bigger question. We were once productive. We measured productivity. We were a productive nation. And then something happened. So what changed? We stopped building, for one. Instead of investing into our nation's infrastructure, our power plants and roads and bridges, our cities and industrial ecosystem, we instead launched into forever wars, from Vietnam to Iraq. It's been 50 years of wars, while our towns, bridges, and energy plants have not been rebuilt. And instead of getting sucked into a world war with Russia like Biden did, we should today start to look to increase global production of energy, materials, food. And this is what President Trump is starting to do. With Russia, Venezuela, even Iran, we're looking to expand global energy supply. We're beginning to rebuild critical infrastructure. Consider what the head of Russia's sovereign wealth fund, Kirill Dmitriev, said recently. At the St. Petersburg Forum, he told reporters that Russia and the United States were signing an agreement to design a tunnel under the Bering Strait, a rail link between Chukotka, Russia, and Alaska, USA. A tunnel across the Bering Strait. Seems crazy, but it's been in discussion whether a tunnel or a bridge for over a century. Dmitriev says this is part of the U.S.-Russian dialogue for peace. And believe it or not, Russia and the United States didn't always have major problems with one another. Prior to the Communist Revolution, Russia was actually one of our closest allies going back to the American Revolution. So this tunnel may actually happen. It may be built. And if it did, it would open up huge areas of new resources throughout the entire Arctic region. Now, there was a famous Russian scientist who recognized what these kinds of big projects actually mean. And his insight tells us something about American civilization, how we used to think big and build big projects like the Erie Canal, which at the time was the longest canal ever built end to end, or the Continental Railroad, or the Hoover Dam. Most nations, most cultures think small, incrementally. America, we take leaps. We conquer continents and explore the heavens. So this Russian-Ukrainian scientist, his name was Vladimir Vernadsky, and he was an anti-communist. But he was so brilliant, even Stalin had to keep him alive. He was in the tradition of Mendeleev. And he said this in a paper in 1938, quote, "We are living in a brand new, bright geological epoch. Man, through his labor, is shifting into a new geological state. Through his labor and his consciousness, the biosphere is in a process of transition to the noosphere. Man is creating new biogeochemical processes which never existed before. In this geological process, a single individual unit of living matter, out of the totality of humanity, a great personality, whether a scientist, an inventor, or a statesman, can be of fundamental, decisive importance and can manifest himself as a geological force. This sort of manifestation of individuality in processes of enormous biogeochemical importance is a new planetary phenomenon. A new planetary phenomenon. And that's American civilization. It's also the end of this insanity called the climate apocalypse, because we saw a continent before us and shaped our destiny. This is the God-given nature of man, as Genesis says, and God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. It was in America where this principle of mankind became clearly demonstrated. In some ways, it was always there, made in the image of the Creator, as the Old Testament says. It's part of creation. The pyramids of Egypt, the great canals of China and Europe, conquering fire, even navigating by the stars across the oceans. Mankind has shown its ability to be a geological force on the planet for a long time. But it was here in the United States, not under kings or tyrants, but by a self-governing people, where this principle took hold. President Trump today is awakening that spirit. He's ending the climate apocalypse. He's ending the regulations on mankind's greatest power to solve problems by growing, expanding, and increasing our productive powers, not by shrinking and becoming small. This idea of man as the greatest geological force in all of creation is a core tenet of our civilization. For too long, it's been about ideological purity, fixating on free markets when only men are free. Markets are competitive, or caring about the polar bears and carbon emissions rather than building the strengths and talents of our fellow Americans to shape the destiny of creation itself. Reviving our civilization means improving the lives of our fellow Americans. It's about making America a city on a hill once again for all to see. And that means thinking big, building what we need to advance and grow, and to embrace the powers God has given to mankind. Look at this one project. This is how America used to think. It's called NOAPA, the North American Water and Power Alliance. It's a project that Robert F. Kennedy was preparing to build once he was elected president in 1968. That life was cut short. This project is continental in size. It would collect water in the Yukon Territory of Canada, where most of the water runs off frozen tundra into the Arctic Ocean. Then it would send the water down through canals and up pumping stations and down the Rocky Mountains to the great American desert of the Colorado River Basin, a continent-wide project to irrigate one of the largest deserts on Earth. And it was designed for free by an American engineering company, Parsons. This is how America once thought. This is the kind of thinking that typifies American civilization. Much like human flight, the moonshot, and electricity, we think big. And this brings us to an even deeper question. Because for 2,000 years, our civilization has confronted the difference between the shadows and the substance, the world of the senses, of categories and descriptions, versus the eternal, the world of ideas and principles, the logos. Recognized this very problem in his hopes of rebuilding Greek civilization, and he developed his allegory of the cave. St. Paul said it this way in 1 Corinthians, "For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known." Charlie Kirk understood this. There is only ever one of us. Every human being is distinct. And after Charlie was killed, a lot of cynics tried to bury his life in a propaganda war. But you can't kill the soul. Charlie refused to treat politics and religion as two separate academic boxes. He saw them as one project, a project of culture, of civilization. To him, politics and religion was the same question. What did it mean to be a good man, a good Christian, a good citizen? It's the same question. And this is key to rebuilding our civilization today. Because our civilization springs from a universal question, that all men are created in the image of God. And this is not a description, it's a challenge, a potential to fulfill, because out of the ashes of Rome emerged a new kind of civilization filled with this potential. We didn't build it in parts, we pursued the oneness of truth, that truth exists and can be accessed only by the mind of man if we have the courage to pursue it. And we aren't going to rebuild it in parts today. Politics, religion, beauty, truth, all those things we have to revive and make whole again, all have one source. And you can see this kind of culture reemerging. There is a revival of this kind of thinking in the younger generation today, that undying light in the growing darkness. Young people are drawn, not by tradition per se, but by the inner light of the mind towards truth. Charlie saw this. He engaged it. He brought it into the arena of politics, and he turned campuses into theaters of high debate. He sought to unify the nation and the church. And there is a growing ecumenical cause today to end the divisions and factions, to value our unity in the eyes of God rather than our divisions. This is what makes nations strong. It's what allows nations to see our shared common destiny as sovereign nations. And what many miss is that it's not just in politics. This is a question for all of human culture. Even science itself cannot exist without a soul, without a mission to conquer the stars or to geologically shape the earth. There are no categories. There are no ideologies that exist in the Logos. There is one universe, and we have been put here to advance, develop, subdue, and grow. And either we grow as a geological force or we perish. That's the mission of America. We are the arrowhead of Western civilization. President Trump is now exposing the lies. He's cleaning up the mess. He's starting the reconstruction. Our task is to break out of the cages of smallness and to begin to think big again, to rally the nation, to unify around the blessings of God and our role in creation. And that's this overview. Click like and subscribe, sign up for the newsletter, and thanks for watching.
The golden age of America is upon us. Wow. Can you just imagine? Did you see that water system coming down? Can you imagine if one of the largest deserts in the United States then it becomes fertile? That opens up new land for us to cultivate, have farms on, provide for our families on. That's big. The world is going through what they call the Trump reset. And it's not just conquering all these other lands like Venezuela and Iran. We're bringing freedom to these nations, all while they're going to work with us. We're going to make deals, and we're going to make energy available to everyone at a much cheaper cost than ever before. I remember when I was 17, 16, Bill Clinton was president. And do you remember going to the gas station and getting gas at like 88 cents a gallon? I mean, you could literally fill up your car for less than $20. Easy. I mean, putting $10 in your car almost filled it up. It's crazy. We're going to get back to that. But we have to take down all this deep state first. They want to control the process by creating scarcity. Deanna's Me 82, thank you for the check-in over there on pilled.net. Yes, the golden age. Yes, the golden age. Maga Man says, I was like 2 back then, LOL. Yeah. That's funny. I forget how old I am sometimes. I mean, my beard does show me kind of old a little bit, but, you know, we all get older. I wouldn't change a thing. All right, so we're going to be moving on. I can't dwell on a subject too long because I've got to get you all rated over to keeping it real at noon. So we got to try to get through some of this stuff. Real Robert reports, and here it is, how a secret group of people were able to overthrow the United States government on November 3rd, 2020, financed by Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg bribed Democrat election officials in the swing states, the very same swing states that simultaneously stopped counting. Hey, Danny, thank you for the check-in over there on YouTube. Think about the $400 million that Mark Zuckerberg spent on NGOs registering the homeless, illegal aliens, drug addicts, dead people, and nursing home residents, you name it. It's a get out the vote operation before every single election. What happened in California, LA, is nothing new. And here's the kicker. Who will ever check on these mail-in ballots?
I want to ask about if you've changed position on what happened in the 2020 election.
Oh, I think it was rigged.
You think it was rigged?
Yeah, I know more now than I did then.
What do you
All you
know?
have to do is in February of 2021, there was a Time magazine article that was published, and it was about Mark Zuckerberg investing $500 million in a Get Out the Democrat Vote campaign. And they focused on the
Mail-in
swing
ballot
states,
boxes.
Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and they focused, and what they did is they basically did what I would refer to as agency capture, and they went in and they captured the county clerks and the secretaries of states in these states, and they basically said, we have a Get Out the Vote campaign program, and if you will implement it exactly the way that we say that you must implement it, we will give you massive amounts of money to run your elections.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do not run it the way that we say, then we can claw all that money back. Well, think about it. If you're a small county in Wisconsin and you get $300,000 from Mark Zuckerberg's foundation to make sure that there are drop boxes in your Democrat heavy areas, that there are that you've got an RV going around and hauling people into the polling places to vote. When you do that, if you do not carry out, you take that money, you sign that contract, and you do not do exactly what that foundation said, you were going to have to use public money to pay it back. You most likely would have ended up in prison. I mean, that's just one example of the way that the election was rigged. The Mark Zuckerberg money was huge. $500 million concentrated in Democrat counties for the purpose of getting out the Democrat vote.
How do you know it was to get the Democrat vote out? Because how does it exactly do? What are the mechanics of that, of how it functioned?
You just have to read the article.
Okay.
And what the article does is it lays it out, and the title is something along the lines of how a secret group of people were able to save the 2020 election, meaning how were they able to get Joe Biden elected.
Now, AJP was talking about this last night on his show. You know, I how should I put this? The battlefield has changed since 2017, 2018, even 2019, and since 2020. The players have changed. What you're seeing right now is the exposure of all the old players. Now you say, well, we can't trust these big tech companies now. I mean, I agree with that. But you have to remember that there is a capitulation toward 2.0 that happened, but you kind of missed it. Trump didn't just go to all these other countries and all these other companies. He brought them to the White House. Mark Zuckerberg was a special guest at Trump's inauguration. I honestly believe that most of these tech companies are under our control now. Yeah, Annie said, I do believe Zuckerberg has been submitted. Yeah, I believe that too. Hey, God is with us 17 over there on Pilled. Thank you for checking in over there. She says, thank you for the 217 gold pills as well. Finally made it to a live Dawning Justice, although it's probably just finishing up. No, we've probably got about another 40, 45 minutes. So just settle in and get your coffee, get your Hunter's Blend coffee from dawningcoffee.com and just settle in. Let's see. Somebody said over there on X, Q put Rupert Lowe there. Could be. Could be. And we know reports Dr. Michelle King delivers powerful message against division. Dr. Michelle King stood strong. America does not need more manufactured racial tension. We do not need more labels with the sole intention to drive us apart. We do not need more lists that place citizens under suspicion because they hold sincere beliefs about faith, family, life, or public policy. I want us to watch this clip.
America does not need more manufactured racial tension. We do need more labels with the sole and do not need more labels with the sole intention to drive us apart. We do not need more lists that place citizens under suspicion because they hold sincere beliefs about faith, family, life, or public policy. I know myself about being labeled. Let me be clear. I reject racism. I reject hatred. I reject white supremacy. I reject any ideology that seeks to elevate one group of people above another. But I also reject the notion that Americans who hold traditional Christian beliefs should be treated as threats or terrorists simply because we disagree with a prevailing political thought. Today, I still have a dream. I dream that one day we will move beyond black power and white power and embrace God's power and human dignity. I dream that Americans will one day see each other not as enemies, but as neighbors. I dream that we will hear each other, see each other, and recognize that every human life has value from the womb to the tomb and beyond. We are, as Scripture teaches, as science testified, one blood, one human race. And if we remember that truth, we can build a future worthy of the sacrifices made by those who came before us. We must speak out for truth and against the forces that would manufacture hate, fear, division, and violence simply to line their pockets and further their political ambitions. Thank you. God bless America, and I look forward to your questions. Thank you so much. God bless you.
God bless that woman. You know, that was the playbook of the evil ones, the deep state, is to always cause division. I mean, Satan did it up in heaven, cause division. Playbook known. When you can divide the population, they are much easier to control. God bless you, Dr. King. You're carrying on his legacy. Gunther says, parents torch woke school lunacy. Loudoun County nightmare exposed. Heated Capitol Hill hearings on parental rights turned into a total bloodbath as moms and dads laid out the disgusting reality of transgender policies in America's public schools. Loudoun County parents, Maggie Platt and others, dropped absolute bombs. And let's watch this clip.
Heated hearings on Capitol Hill over parental rights in America's public schools. Our next guests were at that hearing, and their children have been forced to put up with these policies. Joining us now, America First Legal Senior Counsel Ian Pryor and Loudoun County parent Abby Platt. Thank you both for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. So yesterday on Capitol Hill, we heard from the superintendent from Chicago, from San Francisco, and from Loudoun County. And Abby, I know that your children, Ian, you pulled your kids out 4 years ago, your two children. But Abby, you've stood by the school, not stood by the school, you've kept your children there, but you're fighting the district and you're standing up for the parents who agree with you. Tell me what your daughter and what your son have gone through in the bathrooms.
You know, our bathroom problem started 10 years ago, before they even made this policy, before they made bathrooms and locker rooms an open door for any and all people. When my daughter was in elementary school, there was a little boy who was her very close friend. They were very close friends for 2 or 3 years. And then over the summer, his mom socially transitioned him. He came back to school dressed like a girl with his ears pierced and his hair grown out as much as you can over the summer. And they told my baby, this is our friend and she goes by this name. And these little kids were like, what? So now fast forward, she's a senior in high school. We've been putting up with this for a very long time. That means there are boys in the girls' locker room. There are boys in the girls' bathrooms. When my little boy was in the 5th grade, he had 2 little girls in his class that, as he would describe, were pretending to be boys. He was standing at a urinal one day, and a little girl in his class walked right in and stared down at his penis. My son came home devastated and in tears, distraught that a girl in his class would come and look at him while he was using the bathroom. This is a long-standing problem. You hear, everybody knows Loudoun County is the epicenter, ground zero for big-time problems. And
Rob,
you know, we've had enough.
Catherine, and
Ian, we
Deborah,
always hear them
thank you
say,
for the
well, we're
check-in over
following
there
the
on
law.
Facebook.
These are the laws. And you told our producers, every other student is told to accommodate or get out of the way. You represent some of the families that have been suing the school district. You pulled your children out. Tell me what you thought. What was your reaction of yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I was appalled to hear Superintendent Spence consistently talk about how they follow federal law and they're in compliance with federal law. And you heard the exchange where he said federal law requires us to allow biological men into women's locker rooms. That is false. Not only is it false, but they actually made that argument in federal court in a case that I represented families on, and they lost. There is no federal law that says that. They are gaslighting the public. They were gaslighting the committee. And he also talked about how, you know, if there's an overnight field trip and a girl is uncomfortable with a biological male sleeping in the same room with her, then the parent can request an accommodation. Well, my question is how? Because Loudoun County Public Schools won't even tell parents if their child is transitioning to a different gender. Are they really going to tell a parent in advance of a field trip that, hey, there's a kid that claims to be transgender that's possibly going to be sleeping in the same room as your daughter? Of course they're not going to. So when they say they give parents accommodations, it's nonsense. They don't even give parents the information to get the accommodations.
Yeah, you know, Abby, we all have children in school, all parents that are watching, and sometimes we don't want to ruffle feathers because we don't want them to retaliate against our children or think we're, you know, the mom that's complaining. What made you speak out and what made you keep your children in the school district?
You know, we've had a lot of hard conversations with our children. Loudoun County schools were previously known to be the absolute best in the country, and that's why we moved to this neighborhood and to this house, because of the schools that our children would feed into. Sadly, when people do speak out,
Hey, Janie, thank you for checking in over there on
they do
YouTube.
retaliate. And you see that. We saw that a year ago with those Loudoun boys who were filmed in their own locker room. And then what happened? They were suspended. And the school came after them so viciously. We're seeing the exact same thing happen right now at Freedom High School. You've got one kid with a camera who for years has been taking pictures of other children's genitals when they use the bathroom. For years. One brave kid came forward, and what did they do to him? They suspended him, and they're not letting him walk with his graduating class. So I feel compelled to stand up and speak to protect my own children, but also to protect 70,000 plus other kids whose parents maybe work for the federal government or who work for a corporation that they're afraid that they'll lose their job if they should speak up. And that retaliation, that retribution is well known. And so I can't not speak that because our school systems were so good for so long, we don't have a lot of private schools and they're all full. They're almost impossible to get into. So it isn't a choice for people who don't have a lot of money, but also there isn't availability for many.
Oh, the worst feeling when you just feel stuck. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Carly, over to you.
Ainsley, listen to this. Canada may soon follow Australia's lead.
This stuff is going to go away. People are sick of it. President Trump is going, I believe, to finally outlaw this stuff. He's trying every which way he can right now. So this just came through as I was watching that video. I was scanning what was going on. This just came through. Irish Patriot says this is full communism. So the Crown is in total panic mode right now. See, American Gigi, she said she's got to run to her dental appointment. You have a great day as well. Breaking, the UK is drafting a law to scan every photo, video, and message on every phone in the country. Tech CEOs who refuse to implement this could face up to 5 years in prison. Huh. Wow. It don't get no more dystopian than that. See, a user over on X says, not sure how to fix Ireland. The South have just as bad leaders. It is so complicated with all the agreements that are supposed to be adhered to, effed up. Y'all gonna figure it out. I think you're trying to figure it out right now. So there was another comment over there on X was saying that, you know, that China was the problem in the elections over there at the UK. No, that's not going deep enough. It all comes back to the crown. Yeah, Burn Notice. We need a Bill of Rights. Absolutely, you all need a Bill of Rights. So very bad. Y'all need your guns back. Y'all need everything back. You know, people do things for the safety. Let me back up. The government, the three scariest words that you can ever hear from the government is for your protection. Yeah, for our protection. All right. So they're going to say, for your protection, we're going to be scanning everybody's phones and we're going to be prosecuting all these people of everything that we find on their phones. Burn Notice on Agenda 47, when Trump was running, he said that we will have an Internet Bill of Rights. A digital bill of internet rights is coming. Let me look up something. Q post 605. Q quotes a Fox and Friends released the memo tied to Russian bots. Q responds, thank you, Fox and Friends. Coincidence? AT&T working with no such agency contract. AT&T working with Google, Facebook, etc. Prevent unfair censorship. Push Internet Bill of Rights. Q post 841. And Anon says, has Q ever mentioned the Internet Bill of Rights? Q simply responds, reread the drops. Q. Guys, that was back on 1/25/2018 and 3/4/2018. I still get people, my close friends, that have tried red pilling forever. That's just a coincidence. How many coincidences before it's mathematically impossible, ladies and gentlemen? Q talked about an Internet Bill of Rights in 2018. And in 2023, Trump says, we're going to have an Internet Bill of Rights. And then I send all these True Social posts from Donald J. Trump's True Social about Q and Q Plus over and over and over. You know what the response that I get? Well, he's not really running his True Social account. Are you kidding me right now? That man knows exactly what goes on his True Social feeds. Oh, it's just a coincidence. There's nothing to that. Nah, that can't be real. Well, I'm going to tell you what, folks, on Tracing Justice tonight, let me look at the time. Okay, I got about 30 more minutes. On Tracing Justice tonight, we're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to be starting a Q series on going through the drops because I know whether, listen, I know other people have done it. Okay, I get that. I know that. But some of this information is dated now, and everybody needs to be brought back up to speed. I get new people in my X feed every single day going, "What's this Q business?" Or they're curious. So we're going to start back at the beginning tonight at 8 p.m. on Tracing Justice. Casey Cole says there's so much noise trying to keep us lose hope, but we know the unshakable foundation we're standing on. God wins. Help others see the golden age and they will wake up. It is time to let POTUS cook. And MAGA Man says, I agree. Jesse Waters, the Democrats have meth mouth and they're fine with it. Intergram Panter, or I don't even know how you say his name. Maine's real life Shrek. And let's watch this clip.
I like what Greg said. He's like, the Democrats have meth mouth. And they're okay with it. They look in the mirror, no teeth. It's fine. You got to do what you got to do. I've spent years living in Maine, and Plattner is a vibe. I understand why he's connecting. This guy's voice sounds like a pickup truck driving over gravel. This guy wears LL Bean, jeans. He looks like he drinks a lot and spends a lot of time on a dock. He's got tattoos. He's a Marine. He's a Bernie bro from next door in Vermont. He's kind of got Oliver Anthony energy, like he hates the rich men. So he's a liar and he's kind of a fraud, but he's getting away with it because Maine is a poor white New England state. Fuel costs are really high. They don't eat well there. Their health care costs are really high. When I go there, I don't eat well. So he's tapped into it. And just tapping into it is enough to get elected these days. The Republicans just can't sensationalize him. I agree with Dana. Remember when we Me Too'd Bill Clinton? What'd that do? They tried to Me Too Trump. What'd that do? You can't say, oh, he's a racist, he's a Nazi. I mean, look what that's done to Donald Trump. He's been elected twice. Yes, the guy is an ogre. He's a degenerate. He looks like he lives under a bridge. But I don't think that's going to cut it because the Democrats will rally around someone like that. If everyone's throwing this at him and he's lying and he's kind of getting through it, they're going to say, hey, maybe this guy's got something cooking. The Republicans have to hit him on policy. He's going to raise taxes. He's going to abolish ICE. Green New Deal. He has absolutely no common sense solutions for Maine. In fact, if he gets in there and Collins is out, he can't bring home the bacon. When the Republicans control the Senate, they'll throw Susan stuff. When the Democrats control it, they'll throw Susan pork. If this guy gets in there, he's cut off because he's a Bernie guy, and the Republicans think he's nuts. So I would hit him like that with a laser beam right between the eyes, and we do a cable show. So we sensationalize it. It's fun to talk about nipples and Nazism and sexting, but that's not going to do it.
They have nobody else to run. They have run out of their look. It's bad when on a football analogy. You look over at the bench and your backup quarterback is hurt. Your starting quarterback is hurt. And you're looking over and you're like, damn, we got to put on the third stringer in there. God, this guy's unproven. We don't know much about him. You know, he's got no reps. And then you put him in the game and he's an absolute mess, throwing 3, 4, 5 interceptions. But what do? You got to ride with him. He's your only guy. That's what the Democrats are doing right now. So I've got a guy over on X right now. I believe he's from Britain. So thank you for coming in, though, by the way. It says, every single person in Restore Britain knows who Q is. The Scots are catching on the movement. It's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, don't mistake what he said. They don't know who Q is. They know of Q. Yeah. So we all got to come together. We got to push out these drops we've got to push out, because, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, we know the Q movement. Yep, absolutely, user. At the end of the day, these drops are intel drops. They're not prophecies. They're not trying to prophesize things. They're information for us to dig on and disseminate to the public. We are not prophets. Now, there's a lot of them that have specific dates that line up with things. When you have all the information and you release information at a certain time, it causes chain reactions of things to happen. That's how you can predict the future on what's going to happen. It's not just all some big movie. It's a military operation that you're seeing out that has been planned out for years and years and years and years. I'm not going to go into that whole mess. Q told us in the UK and America might fuse into one. It could happen. I don't know. I don't know. Be kind of cool. All right, let's move on. So, guys, you've heard me talking about dawningcoffee.com, brought to you by Hunter's Blend. So I like to do what they call a coffee break. So we're going to see, Mike puts out these funny little videos, and I think they're hilarious. So let me show you what Mike had to say this morning. Imagine explaining to your grandkids that milk was the rebellious choice.
Hey, did you hear about that guy the other week that died from a raw milk overdose? Yeah, I didn't either. I'm going to have another one. I ain't driving.
That's crazy, that they've something that comes straight from the cow, a creature that God gave us to be able to milk, to be able to eat. You can't drink that. That's bad for you. Oh, we've got to put it through processing. There's so many people that dies off raw milk. Burn Notice said, I think the Q drops are divine as well, and they seem to activate people's spirit. Time will tell. I agree with that statement 100%. I don't want to word this incorrectly, so you take it the wrong, that anybody takes it the wrong way. I believe Q is a tool used by God. God can use people and he can use things to advance his divine plan. If you go back and read the Q drops, there's a lot of biblical references in there. And guess what? Every one of them are from the New Testament. New Testament. So yeah, Burn Notice, I very much agree with that statement. USAID paid. I've never had raw milk either. I do want to try it, but it's so hard to find nowadays. You have to know a local rancher, and you've got to be able to get it from them. Don't have a lot of local ranchers around me, so I don't know. But speaking of Hunter's Blend coffee, I'm just going to quickly go through it. So guys, he offers a lot of stuff. And remember, go to dawningcoffee.com to get your Hunter's Blend coffee. He offers whole roasted beans. They offer sample packs of all of their pods. That's the most popular thing. Everybody drinks the pods. So you get the original roast. The black powder is like a very strong coffee. The original roast is like a medium roast. Java rum is the flavored blend. It's kind of like a flavored original roast. And then Tracy's favorite is Dawn's Early Light. And you can buy that one all in the same box. You don't have to just buy the sample packs. Sells merch too over there. That shirt is awesome. It's very soft. And look, I mean, the Great Awakening. I mean, you don't get any better than that, people, from a company. I mean, look, right here. The Great Awakening. It's pretty cool. Check them out. DawningCoffee.com. All right, let's move on. President Trump on Iran. Did you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took it out the other night, 22 ships.
You know, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships, late at night with no lights, because they don't have any radar, because we blasted the crap out of it. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel.
Yeah. Guys, have you noticed something? Even while this Iran conflict is going on, the operation, have you noticed that gas prices are falling? Now, listen, I live close to the coast. I go down to the coast for my job about 2 or 3 times a week. I mean, gas is, I think I paid $3.23 the other day for it, a gallon. It is coming down. Even while all this mess is still going on, the gas is still coming down. You want to know why? Because of the Trump reset. They're coming here to get their gas. And now President Trump had a secret operation that escorted 22 oil tankers out of the strait. These companies are not going, OPEC is not going to have a leg to stand on pretty soon. So I'm not going to be able to get to everything today, but I do want to get to some things. Let's see here. This is an important one, Act Blue. Let me speak about Act Blue real quick. So Act Blue, the Q pointed out Act Blue long ago. They do micro donations in people's names, like over and over and over and over. Yeah, God is with us. Said our gas has come down by 20 cents over the past 2 weeks, but it's still high at $4.35. Yeah, I understand. I completely get it. Hey, Signal Over Noise, thank you for checking in. Good morning, Josh and fam, just making it in to watch. Thank you, Mimi, so much for checking in. So Act Blue. Q pointed us in that direction a long time ago. And it's basically how they funnel money to all these candidates. Win Red isn't any different. I will tell you this, and I'm not going to go into depth on it. Some of your favorite Anon podcasters out there, you need to look into their sponsors. Their sponsors are donating to Act Blue. The truth is learned and never told. You need to go look at it. Names, and run them through opensecrets.com. There's a lot of telling stuff out there. But anyways, Act Blue. Whoa, massive Democrat Act Blue money laundering scam uncovered. Democrats are pretending to buy $200,000 houses and creating $200 million mortgages and then laundering the money through wire transfers. Hey, Ron, thank you for checking in over there on Rumble. This isn't uncommon. They're found all over the nation, ran through Act Blue. No, USAID paid. Do not say it. So let's watch this clip.
Tell me, magic mortgages. What in the world is this, Senator?
So we have this architecture that when you buy a house, generally it goes into escrow. You have a title company that handles the escrow, and there are a number of documents that go into it. So just at a broad scale, let's imagine you buy a house. Grant Stinchfield buys a house for $200,000, and it's funded by one of the North American banks. We'll just say Wells Fargo. Please don't sue me. All the records, including the mortgage, the deed of trust, the Alta insurance policy, all of those records are recorded in the county record. Then just a few minutes later, your $200,000 house suddenly has a $200 million magic mortgage that comes through. It's nothing but a wire that goes through the title company. There's no lender involved because it's a hard money loan, what they call a cash hard money loan. But because it goes through a title company, there's no notation of who the lender is. And it goes on through the system. Now, what's interesting is, and this is what caught our attention, these are ActBlue officers, corporate officers. Once we found one, it led to another and another and another and another. So we have them all over the nation. And this is just one small fragment
X leads to Y,
of
leads to Z.
the human map. You leave this digital dust, if you will. This is one small fragment.
You have all of these gigantic financial transactions. Now the question becomes, how do they funnel that back into the campaigns? Is that the small dollar donations that we see that show up at some lady's house and she's donated to ActBlue 52 times and she knows nothing about it?
Well, that's just one small aspect of it. So James O'Keefe, got to give that guy credit with the whole smurfing piece that he's done. And we got to be careful about what we're calling this. This is a research project because we're not licensed investigators. We want to make sure that people understand that this money is going into organizations that this architecture was set up by Barack Obama to spread cash around the country and to put money into political action committees, into non-government organizations to fund candidates, to set up the whole architecture for a public relations machine, read basically propaganda machine, to promote the whole concept that we're a team. We've got great funding. It's all behind us. So here in Arizona, for example, the Arizona Democrat Party, not more than about 5 weeks ago, it replaced their chairman because their fundraising is 25% of what it was last year. Well, where did all the donors go? So what we're talking about here, Grant, is wholesale fraud, where the money is distributed by ActBlue officers. And now, because we're not federal law enforcement, we don't know exactly where it went. But that's why we've turned it over to U.S. attorneys.
And that brings me to the real news, I guess, is that you have handed this over to the Department of Justice. What has been their response of taking the evidence? We'll call it evidence because, nothing's been proven yet. I'd like to get ActBlue's response on all of this. But you turn over this evidence to DOJ. What do they say to you?
We are now engaged in conversations with a number of U.S. attorneys, former U.S. attorneys, lawyers who are not yet confirmed U.S. attorneys. So there is great interest. I've got to believe that Attorney General Pam Bondi has forwarded this out to the folks that are the financial crimes folks. And by the way, it wasn't just the AG. We also sent it to the IRS Criminal Division and to the FBI. So Director Patel also has this.
So the news story makes this sound kind of complicated, but the scam is actually pretty simple. What Democrats do is they have these smaller homes that are not very expensive, around a $200,000 purchase price. And then what they do is they take out these cash loans against these homes, and here's the thing is, they do it right before election cycles. So these transactions always cluster right around the election cycles. They involve multiple ActBlue officers, corporate affiliates, and large enlisted donors. So all they're doing is they're getting a bunch of homes that are lower valued. Around election time, they take out a bunch of these quick cash loans against them, and then they have a bunch of money that they can use for their campaigns.
Man, it just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper with ActBlue. That's what you have to educate the public about too, is about how they funnel all this money around. Hey, Bird Notice. It's 2 a.m. in Australia. Yeah, I love you too, man. We're going to hook up one of these days. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Yeah, Bibb said, wow. Wow. They're creative. I will give them that. They are very, very creative on this money laundering. Yeah, MAGA Man says, damn, dude, no wonder they got so much stuff. Yeah. That's how they, the Democrats couldn't rely on private donations to fund their campaigns because nobody likes them. They have no platform. So what did they have to do? Yeah, God is with us 17 over on Pilled says creative monsters. Absolutely. So they've got to come up with this funding somewhere. Onward Truth. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Tell Seth Keschel I said hi. We're still waiting on his response to come on Real Justice. So tell him that. So yeah, dark to light. So Real AF Patriots getting ready and fired up over there on keeping it real. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up. So mods, thank you for everybody, keeping everybody welcomed in and, pushing out our sponsors. So thank you so much for that. Guys, thank you for keeping the chats lit up. YouTube is growing every day. I see you guys chatting away over there, and my audience is growing over there. Pilled is even starting to pick up now a little bit. So thank you guys so much. X and Rumble always going to be my peeps. So thank you for coming in every day. Every day, you guys. That's no small thing. I thank each and every one of you for everything that I haven't been posting a whole lot on X because again, we've had a lot going on. So I've been putting more of my focus in on the shows. So thank you guys for showing up to our shows every day. I really appreciate it. Tracy appreciates it. I see everybody that has bought stuff, from Justice Shrooms and Justice Pet Club. So I thank you so very much for all of your support every day. So don't forget 2 places to go. For mine and Tracy's content, always go to tracingjustice.com. And for all of Truther Media's content, go to truthermedia.com and check out our merch store over there. We've got some really good things that's going to be coming in the pipeline. Hopefully this weekend, some more America's 250 stuff. And don't forget tonight, 8 p.m., Tracing Justice. And we're going to go back to the beginning. I've got a really good Q video to show you that's custom that we had made. And it's very, very informative, and it's very easy and very basic to understand. Then we're going to come back and Tracy and I will go through some drops. It's just going to be me and her tonight. We're going back old school. We're going back to the beginning. So we're going back to the beginning of the format where it was just me and Tracy talking. So, all right, guys, let's end in prayer. Lord, I come to you in Jesus' name, Lord. Hallowed be your name, Lord. Thank you for giving us another day on this great creation that you made us on this planet. And thank you, Lord, so much for everything that you have given us in our lives, Lord. And Lord, I come to you humbly that sometimes we don't have all the money in the world. Sometimes we don't have these big houses. But sometimes I look at the person walking down the street with no car and say, I've got a car that works. I'm thankful. Or the person living in the tent, then I look, thank you. Thank you for giving me my home to live in. But most of all, thank you for sending your son to die on the cross for all of our sins, Lord. Because we know that all of this stuff on this earth is just temporary and it all goes back to dust. And all we can take with us is what we did for you on this earth, Lord. So in saying that, please help us put on the armor of God every day and wield the sword of truth, which is your word, the Holy Bible, that we may spread the word that what you did for us, Lord, that you sent your son to die on the cross for all of our sins and rose 3 days later, and that we may have the courage to spread your word, Lord, and help us fight against these principalities, Lord, that rule this earth, Lord. I see it. We're winning. We're winning, Lord, and it's all in your plan, Lord. And please grant us the patience to, Lord, to see your plan through, because it's all in your time, Lord. And I thank you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, guys. I will see you tonight, 8 p.m. sharp. Lord willing. I've got some errands to run with Tracy today. We're going to come back. We're getting ready. I'm really excited about tonight. And it's been a while since Tracy and I have just went off the cuff and done just a Q show. So I'm really excited about that. We're going back to our roots tonight. So please, again, join us, tracingjustice.com. You can find all of our links and all of Truther Media's links at truthermedia.com. So let's get you on over to Keeping It Real with a Real AF Patriot. And remember, let's go make fishers of men. Let's go save some souls. And let's go save the Republic. I'll see you tonight at 8. See you, gang.
You thought you could bury me, thought the dark would close in. You were wrong, you don't know who I am, and you never will. You drew the line in the dirt and flame. They said I'd break, said I'd shame, whispered threats through a locked back door, but I've heard sound before. You pushed and pulled, tried to crack my back, but I don't collapse like that. I don't run, I don't bend, I don't bow to fear of men. When the dust clears, you'll see you never buried me. We're not backing down, we're holding the line. Truth will be heard, not just whispered in time. You can't stop this, we will not fall. When justice rises, it answers the call. You thought you knew what I stood on, but this ground's been here too long. Stealing the blood, fire and breath. I don't scare easy at talk of death. You don't know the weight I carry, or the hand that stands behind me. You can shout, you can lie, try to crucify, but chains you swing and stones you throw only make the pressure grow. We're not backing down, we're holding the line. Truth will be heard in its own time. You can't stop us, we will not fall. Justice is coming, and it's coming for all. You thought you could take me down. You don't know who I am. I don't stand alone. God holds my sword of truth. We're not backing down, we're holding the line. Truth will be heard, this is our time. You can't stop us, we will not fall. but